Hi there, meteorologist Robert Spetta here with you on today, the 10th, going into the 11th of August, 2013. So right around midnight, Philippine Standard Time when I am making this video update here on Typhoon Labuyo or Utor. I say tropical storm because Pagasa is still labeling it as a tropical storm at the time of this video update, which just completely, utterly blows my mind. Winds 105 kilometers per hour. You need 120 kilometer per hour winds for a typhoon, so they don't even think it's even close to a typhoon at this time. I think that it's a very dangerous move on their part because this storm has the potential to cause some deaths out here in the Philippines, and that is the main topic of today's update. What are the impacts going to be, and specifically for the bulk of our audience in there into Metro Manila. And first, I want to show you the international look at this storm system because Pagasa is just so crazy low on the intensity right now. This is from the Hong Kong Observatory. Winds at 140 kilometers per hour, well above what you were saying there at Pagasa, expecting to make landfall there right around Isabela here, just south of Cagayan, going through the early morning hours there on Monday morning, about 02 Philippine Standard Time. Similar output as far as the track from the Japan Meteorological Agency. Winds 80 knots. Put that in perspective. That's about 160 kilometers per hour, vice the 100 kilometers per hour the Pagasa, the Philippine Weather Agency, is going for. So I know if you're there in the Philippines, I always say use them as the official agency, but all the other agencies have responded to just the rapid intensification, but Pagasa is somewhat just lacking behind on this. It really is going to be a serious storm, especially for much of northern Luzon. Now, with that said, it actually looked a lot better earlier on today, but still a typhoon, and we can see that here with the morphed microwave imagery. It rapidly intensifies here. You start to see an eye wall develop, and a little eye right there around the center of circulation. So that typically indicates that pressure got down to about 970 HPA. That's what you need for that eye to really develop there. And well, that's a typhoon intensity, but some pretty decent banding still wrapping around this, and that's where we could be seeing these winds up to that 160 kilometer per hour sustained mark, gust even higher than that. So pretty potent system, category 2 up to about a category 3 tropical system. Like I said, though, it has lost a little bit of that organization through the overnight hours, but we're still seeing really good, decent banding along the southern periphery. Along northern periphery, plenty of moisture inflow coming into the storm system. It has a lot of good outflow aloft. You have the Tut in the northern periphery, and then, well, the most important thing, at least at this time, is just the warm bath water of the Philippine Sea out here. I mean, temperatures up into the 30 to 33 degree range. You need typically about 28 for typhoon formation, so the water is just extremely warm, and it's only expected to get warmer along the storm's track, getting up to about 34, 35 out here into the South China Sea. But for now, though, where it is right now, and then let's take a look at where the track is. According to the Joint Typhoon Warning Center, this is being overlaid on the Weather Underground Wonder tool, so it's an American company. They're, of course, using JTWC. Category 2 at this time. They expect it to continue to push off there towards the west, becoming a Category 3 equivalent of winds 201 and gusting up to 250 kilometers per hour. This is according to the military out of Pearl Harbor, Joint Typhoon Warning Center. But as far as their intensity, I don't think it's all too far-fetched, and I think the track is spot on with this. So with that said, what are the impacts going to be out here? Well, this is showing the Typhoon Utor, not tropical storm, Typhoon Utor, or Labuyo, right into Sunday evening, 06 UTC, pulling off here towards the northwest. But the key thing to note is by this time already, rain bands definitely already moving on shore. We're seeing sustained winds at tropical storm intensity throughout the day on Sunday for southern Luzon, but then it's really going to kick up, especially near the coastal areas going into the evening hours. You're going to be seeing typhoon strength winds out here, possibly destructive strength winds. So anybody near in any of these coastal cities here, I know that we had that power outage last week down here towards the south. Well, the power's back on, but this is likely going to be knocking it back off because these winds are definitely going to be very sustained. The other problem is the heavy rainfall. These rain bands are already going to be pushing on shore, and we've already been seeing that on the radar today. A lot of those rain bands that were pushing ashore. So that's really going to be impacting the area. But let's take a look at the winds and the max intensity of this at landfall. Now, landfall expected to be between about midnight and 0400 Philippine Standard Time. I know about a 4-hour gap, but you're really going to be seeing these high winds well ahead of the storm system. I know it looks like it's making a beeline towards Manila at this time, but it's actually expected to jog a little bit farther there towards the north. With that said, though, and I've been saying this all day, Manila is on the southern periphery of the cone of air for many of the agencies here, and this is the analysis I put together. So it's not completely out of the question you're going to be seeing typhoon strength winds out here, possibly very damaging strength winds, if that storm tracks a little bit farther towards the south as of the forecast here on Saturday night going into Sunday. Very still short term. Likely it's going to be making this loop towards the north, but we haven't really quite seen it yet. So you want to watch this. And plus, there's still going to be some of these outer rain bands pushing through the Manila metro area that could be packing really quite a punch out here. And you're not seeing it on the model, but it's these outer rain bands. Plus, coming off of Manila Bay, there's a threat of water spouts as well. And any of these outer rain bands, you could be seeing that. So tropical storm strength winds across much of the southern half of the country, definitely along the northeastern periphery of the storm system, within that eye wall at landfall. Castiguran, I think that is the area that is going to be hit the hardest. Very few large cities on northeastern Luzon. Most of it's jungle out here, or as you can see, the main highways actually well inland, Iligan off there towards the north, San Jose City down there towards the southwest. Castiguran, on the other hand, it's one of the coastal ones, one of the few coastal ones, and there's a pretty decent risk of a storm surge here, possibly up to about 5 to 6 meter high. So you got these waves coming ashore. Very serious risk of storm surge, flooding, especially just due to the heavy rains, but also coastal flooding and these damaging winds after it pushes ashore. But then after it does continue to track across Luzon here, we're going to be seeing the impacts across most of the country, and then eventually it'll start to move off there a little bit too far ahead. It'll start to move off the west coast of Luzon throughout the day on Tuesday, or excuse me, Monday night into Tuesday. But still, these winds wrapping around, and you could be seeing a light surge along the southern periphery of that center of circulation, and just widespread rainfall. And that's why I'm going to show you my map here I put together, and where I think the heaviest rain is going to be, and really along the mountains there across the east coast of Luzon. Coastal flooding right near the coastline, though. On the western periphery, you can see a lot of that moisture inflow, and even down towards the south, rain along southeastern Luzon, about 150 to 250 millimeters possible. These are the higher ends of the numbers. These are really localized areas where I think this could happen, but that is where the threat is. And I don't want to give you a lower number and then flooding happen. Now, as far as Manila, I think less than 150 millimeters possible into the Manila metro area, but localized it could be higher than that, but for general term across this entire area, it should be on the lower end. Now, right up on the Manila Bay there, up by the Mall of Asia, is flooding going to be likely? Yeah, I do think so, especially once you start seeing those winds come in from the west pushing on shore. This is actually something I don't do too often in my video updates, but a lot of questions about Manila today. Pinpoint forecast just showing that heavy rainfall and these rain bands basically throughout the next, this is 72-hour forecast by the way, and showing the heavy rainfall and how much rain is going to be falling in the Manila metro area. These rain bands continuing to push through. This is going through basically Sunday morning, then into Sunday night and through the evening hours, and then also picking up again throughout the day on Monday. You can follow the winds actually. It's changing from southwest to south and up to tropical storm strength going through the day on Monday. So with that said, schools, if they're not closed, they should be closed across much of the Manila metro area. I've been asked that, even colleges as well. If it's not closed, I think it's a day you should just take off, especially for people also who are non-pertinent jobs where you just don't have to be there. Probably we want to take the day off on Monday because it may be a risky one if some of these stronger cells start to push through. But on the other hand, if it does work far enough towards the north, Manila could dodge the bulk of this, and you might say there's just passing showers and it wasn't that bad. So I think it's right on the edge of just this cone of air where I can't say with confidence if it's going to get hit really hard or not. All that much. The worst stuff obviously will be farther towards the north, but I really do think Metro Manila, tropical storm strength winds, and some passing showers that could add up to some strong localized flooding, and plus these short time downpours that could result in some damaging winds. Alright, lastly, if you did watch my entire video update, kudos on you. Basically in the long range of this storm system, I'm just going to show you the model, consensus, and JMA's track here, because it does take it towards Hong Kong, which we have a lot of viewers out in Hong Kong as well, and it could pose actually a pretty potent typhoon once it gets out there as well. And this is a GFS model output for Wednesday evening. Basically, Hong Kong, Macau, in the right front quadrant, eye wall off there towards the west. I do think that this is actually a pretty decent idea given the overall background field, but also the upper level analysis where we do have this high pressure ridge towards the north at this time. In the long range, that storm would pass over Luzon, basically track along the southwestern periphery of this large high pressure here. Now, this is the upper level analysis, 300 HPA, so this storm's not going to want to move to that very large and potent high. But then you see a little weakening rate here and a little troughing, actually. Some of those wind barbs going down, some of those wind barbs going up. So you have some troughing right in there. That is going to want to dive right into that, basically jumping into a hole. And if that was the case, it would move like that. And we would have, well, it making landfall just towards the west of Hong Kong. Good news for Hainan. So, yeah, we're going to continue to watch that. I think tomorrow I'm going to have more information on that. And also tomorrow, 1200 Japan Standard Time, 1100 Philippine Standard Time, 03 UTC on Sunday. Live webcast here at westernpacificweather.com. I guess I should have mentioned that at the beginning of the video. 11 minutes in now. I'm surprised if anybody's still watching. We're going to have a full update on this storm system and also fielding questions on YouTube, live streaming. You can post comments here on the web page as well. We're going to have a comment section at the Tropical Information Center. So, yeah, if you want to stop by and join that, it's always better if we have questions, people. So always appreciate that information, appreciate that feedback. Stay safe out there.